Welcome to the Real Chili Podcast.
And the Golden Eagles of Marquette University in Milwaukee are bound for the Final Four for only the third time ever.
5 seconds left. Marquette down by one, trying to avoid the upset. Blue the drive, the left hand. It's good. 1 second to play. Vander Blue has put Marquette in front by one.
And I want to win every day as basketball players, as students, and I want to win every day, most importantly, as people.
A very good evening in what was, without question, the most predictable letdown. Yeah.
Can you even be let down, Brian? Can you even be let down?
In what was, without question, the most predictable letdown in any game this season, Marquette falls at home to who else? The team that owns us more than any other in the Big East, it feels like in recent memory, the Seton Hall Pirates, 70-63. This is the Real Chili Podcast. I'm Brian Henry. It's freaking 11:37 on a Thursday. Pete Mohan, Eric Pond is around for the ride. Let's get right into the most important thing. Eric Pond, this one stings a little more for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think as a lot of the longtime Real Chili listeners know, my father-in-law is a Seton Hall grad and a very proud one, a donor to SHU. My brother-in-law also is a Seton Hall graduate. I spent time, and when this Real Chili podcast launched, I was living in Maplewood, New Jersey, which, if anyone knows the sort of the territory around Seton Hall and South Orange, that is literally 1 to 2 miles from campus.
It would not be outrageous to call you a man among pirates, is what you're trying to say.
I was maybe a warrior or an eagle among pirates. That's correct, Bubbles. This one stings hard. I've literally stared at the panoramic view of the 1982 or 89 or whatever the fuck it was.
89
national championship, Seton Hall shot of the stadium against, I think it was Michigan when Michigan beat them, but it's still hanging on my father-in-law's wall. This is a really tough one for me, and I just hate that we always seem to fucking lose to Seton Hall. And this is just, if this were a first, it would be tough. It's a classic letdown, of course, but we always seem to just catch up. We always seem to catch and trip on Kevin Willard's tactics all the time, and it sucks. I'm done with it. This sucks.
Pete Mohan, there's no other way to describe it. Eric said it. This one absolutely reeked. I mean, from start to finish.
I don't know. Don't you guys like roller coasters?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's fair.
You like ebbing and flowing?
I was entertained.
Hey,
At the end,
we gotta have these L's so that the W's taste that much sweeter. That's from my years of being a Lions fan. That's why 8-8 is so great, because every win feels twice as good when it comes on the backside of a loss. So you can't have joy without pain, right, Brian? I mean, I don't know, you guys.
We ate a lot of backside tonight, that's for sure.
This was stupid. That's what it felt like. It felt dumb.
Well, it felt dumb because
and it's not like Seton Hall was terrible, but
no.
They're a confounding team to play against for whatever reason, and really this one just falls on the offense. Again, the defense performed fine. It's not like Mamu totally took over the game. We held them to 70 points.
Damn good, though.
He was good. He was good when it mattered. He was a clutch player for them in this game, that's for sure. But it was on the offense again. 15 turnovers, was it? 17? I don't know. It was
17 turnovers.
17 turnovers. And well, actually, I'm looking at the box score.
The box
14,
score says 14. Never mind.
14 turnovers, still
Yeah,
not great.
right.
Turning it over on 21% of our possessions. And again, regressing mightily from our strong shooting performance in Omaha. And this game, after the last game, we shot over 50% from three, only shot 37% from three. Not terrible, but also, we weren't great. We weren't assertive at going to the rim. Only 8 free throws, and the offense sputtered in this game. It seemed rudderless until the very end when DJ Carton tried to miraculously shoot us back into it. But
I think all those things you saw that got us back in to our last game and our big win at Creighton, that basically putting your shoulder to the wheel, girding and grinding it down into the paint, and having really a cohesive, coherent strategy to take down that team in the second half, you just didn't see. It's tough though. If I hear this is the second or third tallest team in the NCAA again, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself. Like it is.
Yeah.
But it's a big team and it's a hard team, and they are geared to win. They're a grit team. This is a ratty ass program. It's a ratty ass, gritty ass tactic they take, and they're good at it. It's classic South Orange, New Jersey, Manhattan. Like this is what they are. It stinks. Also, like, hey, getting to the line 8 times ain't gonna cut it against a team like Seton Hall. We went 8 for 8. We hit them all, but you know what? That's not going to cut it when we sent them to the line 18 times.
And let me, a little side tangent, and I'm going to bet you just set it up beautifully, Eric. Marquette did not lose this game today because of officiating. I cannot stress that enough. But I want to get into the ending sequence of the game. I mean, it wasn't great, but I don't think they lost because I thought they played poorly, Eric, and that's what you can't come out of the gate down 17-7.
I agree.
It came to bite you in the ass at the end of the game.
Yep,
you can't start down by 10 points at the first fucking media timeout.
Yep.
I know there's no home fans, there's no lift, like you got to create it all yourself. It's hard. But here's what I want to get to, right? DJ Carton puts on his freaking Superman cape, drags you to a tie game. You get a stop, have the ball, get your best interior scorer in Justin Lewis one-on-one on the block. And I know it's easy because we're sitting at home and everybody's a freaking, armchair official. But I freaking hate it when we draw them. That offensive foul called on Justin Lewis with 50 some odd seconds left is such a fucking epidemic in this sport.
Yeah.
It was a strong move to the basket with a defender in perfect position, and he goes flying to the floor. It didn't even remotely cross my mind that the official would do a no call there or a block. And I didn't even want to block. It should have been a no call.
Again, I hate
Play
to bring
fucking defense, and Justin goes up and scores. We should be up by 2 with 45 seconds left. Instead, offensive foul. They get the ball back, and a fucking kid that hasn't made a 3 all game or attempted one freaking throws in a prayer from the left wing.
Yep.
Like, I can't be too mad, but that call, it happens all the damn time in this sport. I hate it.
I hate it too. I hate to bring this into it too, but Mohan and I had a very long, strong parlay that went into early this evening. So I was intently watching the Kansas game, Kansas Texas Tech, and my God, if you like, it is a pandemic, and I'm not taking lightly the 310,000 people who have now died in the pandemic, but it is endemic in this game that exact. It's just a monstrosity. Like it hurts everything about the game. They just need to stop calling the flop. And it needs to happen universally. We saw it there, and they actually called it out. It was what's his name? The premier ESPN talent who does fucking A.
Scott Van Pelt.
No,
Levy.
No, the college guy, the tall, lanky.
Dan Schulman.
Okay, not Dan.
Jay Billis.
Okay.
Jay Billis.
It was Jay Billis. It was Jay
Thank
Billis.
you. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Scotch brain here. Jay Billis, I mean, he went off on it, and it's true. Like, it is absolutely woven into the fabric of this game. And it stinks. It is really shitty, and we were victim to it. Kansas was too at certain points. Kansas pulled out, obviously, but man, it's tough. Like I ended up watching a lot of games tonight. I watch a lot of games every night. You just see it so much, and it degrades the game. You'd rather have something
takes away from real defense
than something that degrades the game. And the NCAA has to see it. This is degrading the value of the product. And to me, that
should have been right, and that should have been a great play, Pete Mohan, to go up by 2 there. And I don't want to get us too boiled into like, oh, we lost because of this. You get bad calls against you; it's part of the game. But God, that one freaking call just
degrades the game. That's all it does. It degrades the quality of the game.
It does, but you mentioned it before. It wasn't just even the getting behind in the first 8 minutes or whatever, down by 10. Beyond that, it was just. There were opportunities for us to assert ourselves on offense throughout the game, and we didn't do that. And it put us in a hole that when you're playing against a pretty solid defense in Seton Hall, it's going to be difficult to climb that hill. And it was apparent, and I don't like when this happens, when the offense looks different in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. It's like procrastination. As a procrastinator, I identify it right off the bat when I see it. And it's procrastination in sense of urgency from the offense. And it just wasn't there early on, the going downhill from DJ and Kobe. There was minimal attacking of the hoop. I mean, there was some paint offense, through passing, and Theo John's hook shots were pretty decent in this game. But for the most part,
Theo scored 13 points. He was their second leading scorer.
Yeah, Theo was a huge contributor. I guess that is his high for the season, I believe, 13 points. Got to give credit to Theo for, 13 out of 63 points is a pretty high percentage. But the guards just weren't assertive. And I mean, it's one thing to just shoot 7 of 19 from threes. That's about average to shoot 37, 38% from three. But there was no want to at all in the first half on offense, it felt like, for me. And I think also one more thing we need to mention is beyond the Justin Lewis offensive foul down the stretch, we have to, call it when it happens. He didn't have a great game. He was 2 of 8 from the field with 3 turnovers. So tough game for Justin Lewis. And then the other freshman, Dawson Garcia, fouled out in 25 minutes.
I did find it fascinating that for the second straight game, granted Samir Torrance still hurt, Wojo only played 7 players. Greg Elliott only played 11 minutes coming off the bench. And in crunch time, we saw Theo John sit in favor of Justin being out there. Or did Theo foul out and I missed that? No, he didn't foul out.
No, he did not.
Did he?
Yep. Nope.
Theo didn't foul out.
Theo only had 2 fouls.
This is big in my notes too, Bubbles. We only had 6 players put the ball in the hoop tonight. Like, that is tough.
Yeah. Look, and I love these 7 as like a primary core, but it would be nice to have.
Agreed.
And can I just say something too? The offense that we saw against Creighton, that is going to be the aberration of this offense.
Greg Elliott's not going 4 for 4 from 3.
No,
every night.
And we're not shooting 57%.
Well, not every night.
I mean, we kind of addressed this in other pods. This isn't necessarily a team stacked with 3-point snipers, okay?
If you went 57% from 3, you could beat the Knicks or the whatever. You could beat the Orlando Magic every night. Like, that's not it's
an unsustainable percentage. And look, we were bound to come down to earth a little bit on offense, but of course, the turnovers are something that you want to reel in a little bit. I don't know. It's just we have to expect that this offense is going to come and go at times. The frustrating thing for me is that I'm okay with shots rattling out. It's going to happen, but I'm not okay with there not being aggressiveness in going to the hoop, especially from the guards.
So I this is just something I thought about, like in the aftermath of this, or as I understood we were sort of fading away. How much do you think this is a game back home for us after a long road trip in which we really dominated and we were coming up on such a high note? Like, where does that leave us? Like, we entered the Fiserv Forum, hopefully at home, with an advantage, but we did not have the advantage tonight necessarily. Like, we really seem to hurt for fan enthusiasm in what we know would have been at least
painfully
10,000, 12,000, 13,000 fans in what is Fiserv 17,000 fan forum tonight. Like, we painfully needed it, and it hurt. I'm not sure that was the difference in our wins on the road. And God, that is such a myopic way to look at this, but tonight it really seemed like if we came back off of that unbelievable road stretch and came back to a sold out arena, we would have won this game. I truly believe that, but I don't know. That's myopic.
Can we do a little sidebar on that before we hop back in? I just want to ask you guys, if you know, what do you think? Is there going to be any like compensation by the committee, the tournament committee, relative to road wins? I mean, a road win over a top 10 team like Marquette had at Creighton, does that mean, do they consider that more of a neutral court win these days?
I think go ahead, Eric.
I've been thinking about that too, Mohan. That's exactly sort of feeding into a lot of this thought that I have. So,
yeah, I don't know the answer.
It kind of has to, doesn't it?
I think it has to too. I think it does.
Yeah, I mean, look, say what you will about. Then this works, Pete. I agree with you, or Eric. I agree with your statement on. I think the crowd could have carried us in a game like this today, where you don't have it the whole time. Same can go for Creighton, right? That's normally 20,000 people in that building, and they're all batshit crazy. Like, that's a brutal environment to play in. Who's to say we go on the tear we go on in the second half if there's 20,000 people in there when we're down by 9?
Otherwise, what are you talking about? You're talking about the JetBlue first class jet that we take, or the JW Marriott we stay at, or wherever. I don't even know what our hotel sponsor is, but like, it doesn't make sense to me otherwise, unless you truly believe, like some people do in the NBA, that the Celtics set their rim 1/8 per inch lower than other, like to get a different bounce and a different. Like, I don't know. Some people believe that. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to me. Bubbles, I agree with you. I think they will reset expectations and will reset the value given to a road win, especially at a normally hostile environment. It just has to happen.
Okay, so back to the topic. This by no means is a bad loss. Seton Hall is not a bad team. They're ranked below us in Ken Palm. Which
it's a bad loss to the person in the bottom right.
Fuck Seton Hall.
It's not a bad loss for the resume.
On
it's
paper,
not an embarrassing
on the resume,
loss.
it's not.
But
in
it's
Eric's
a loss
life,
that we wanted. What we wanted was to, dot the I and cross the T of that win against Creighton, and of course, you can choose to slice things however you'd like. One way to look at things is that we've lost 2 of our last 3 games. That's just a fact. I mean, and the 2 times that
got real sobering real quick, Mohan. Damn. Why you got to be like that?
I had not thought of that either.
I mean, yeah, we do have 2 huge resume building wins, but we have 3 losses on the season. I think I said, kind of on our introductory podcast that we would be happy to get to Christmas at over 500. We have 2 games left with Xavier. I don't know if that game is up in the air or not due to their COVID issues. And then Villanova. I mean, if we drop those 2 games, we're at Christmas with 9, days or whatever to get ready for Georgetown, but sitting there at 5-5. And that's a very real possibility, going to Xavier and then getting Villanova at home. So I don't want to say we're staring a 4 losses in 5 games in the face possibility, but that really is a possibility.
But Pete, this wraps up everything perfectly from what we're talking about today. Like, isn't that what we are? If we're all being honest with ourselves, and we're being, we were effusive with our praise of Wojo in the second half the other day. This is the era we've been in. I'm not going to go nuts on the coaches, but every big wave of momentum is immediately followed by, a short drop. 1 step forward, 1 back, and that's what tonight felt. No, it's not devastating in the grand scheme, but God, you were hoping to take a step and win a home game against a team like Seton Hall. Fair to say, Eric?
Also, everything I think we said in the goofy ass Tuesday pod we did after
we were a little punch drunk. Yeah, we were.
Creighton 2.0.
You got to be fired up about that.
The return back to Creighton. Everything we said there was right. Like, this team is young. It's promising. It is extremely different and a fresh slate from what we've seen. You know what comes with that and that we missed? It is enigmatic. Like, we need to understand that that's what we're going to see this year. And we've diagnosed that too. We've said it's going to ebb and flow. We've made jokes about that. But we're going to see such an unpredictable, enigmatic squad, I think, through some of this Big East play. For one, because the Big East is so competitive and it is such a juggernaut and is so hard to get through. Every team is ridiculously tough. I think we all saw today that, every team in the Big East, it's the only conference where everyone is in the top 100 of KenPom. But at the same time, we are such a young, unpredictable team coming into formation, and we are at the head of this. We are not at the tail of this. Like, this team is just coming together. Let's expect up and downs. I would just love it not to be against Seton Hall. It's just
no, I was just going to say, I can be really quick here. I think I said it the other night. Like, every game is going to be its own thing. There's nothing on this schedule that you look at and go, yep, W, yep, L. I think they've demonstrated they could beat every team on this Big East slate at one point or another, and they could get beat by every single one of them. And they're not the only college team that's got that, but that's what they are.
Okay, so let's talk then about what you need to do to navigate that situation. I think that for you to gain that sort of consistency, there needs to be some consistency in the reliable threats on offense. And hey, I don't want to say it, but as of right now, it seems like as Kobe goes, the offense goes. And this was really one of Kobe's worst games statistically, although you do have to give the dude credit. He played 39 minutes. Also, shout out to Jamal Cain, who under the radar had a great game. Jamal Cain played 38 minutes tonight and had 12 points and 8 boards, including 3 offensive. So
he showed out at points when it mattered too.
Jamal had 0 turnovers in 38 minutes. And Kobe only had 2 turnovers in 39 minutes. So it wasn't a reckless game from Kobe, but he didn't have the shooting going, only 3 of 10 and 0 free throw. See, that's the key stat for me with Kobe. 0 free throw attempts. It's unacceptable especially for a dude who's built, he has the body that can absorb contact in the lane. And if he has a stat line that contains 0 free throw attempts, he's not using his game properly.
and I know Eric wants to jump in here, but I'll just throw it on Kobe. And hey, use a fucking dribble before you attempt that shot that would have tied the game, and it went in. I mean, that was a huge. Not he didn't lose the game, but that was. I'm amazed we waited this long to bring that up.
Are you talking about the travel?
The travel in the final 30 seconds on a shot that he made.
Can we clarify this? Are we sure that the travel, they didn't call that on DJ Carton when he dragged his foot before the pass, or was that definitely on Kobe?
Kobe took an extra half step. I mean, he traveled.
I'm asking, the second I didn't know.
I thought it was Kobe as well, but
okay. I just wanted to clarify because they had kind of
go ahead. I know I cut you, but that play bummed me out.
Hey, all I want to say is, it'd be great to get going a little bit earlier. DJ, I think I don't know what he had, 4 points or 6 points at the half. He was contributing across the board, but at the same time, like, he did not show up until the second half. Theo is his offensive contributions are fantastic. Everything we can get from him on that end is just awesome. And when we know we get 13, 16, 12 points from him, we're generally going to win that game. I'm most upset, I guess, about the late start from everyone yet again. It seems like this is just a slow starting team. We really fucking got off slow generally. I think we what is it, 15-5 or 16-4 or something like that to start.
17-7 out of the gate.
17-7 out of the gate. Really tough. Again, DJ had a shit first half on scoring. He showed up in other places. That would be really nice to see, is just like dominance offensively early. He picked it up and he looked like, again, who we all think he is, which is an NBA prospect in scoring in the second half. It's just tough to wait, 20 minutes to see that. Kobe McEwen was really consistent. And again, it would be nice to see him finish out a game. He really showed up in the first half and he faded into the game, it seemed like, offensively. So these are my random stream of consciousness thoughts. I know we're just after the game here, but it's what I saw. It's frustrating. I'd like to see DJ really get after it all game. DJ could have had 30 points this game, and he didn't.
And not to kick a guy while he's down here, but for the people out there who are like, well, this team is missing Samir Torrance. I mean, yeah, it's nice to get a few minutes from him off the bench as a ball handler, but let's be real. I mean, before he had his little injury, it's not like he was ripping the nets with his shots. I mean, he kind of had a rough go of it earlier in the season and really wasn't contributing anything to the offense. So
it's actually the most curious comment from Lavin that I heard all night was like, he's
reading his cue cards or whatever. Lavin,
they've
sharing the sugar a little too much.
They've relied on Torrance for years, and clearly he's not on the booger sugar. He's on the FS1 sugar.
So what do we do to get more consistent offensive production out of these guards?
Well, I think you just said it, Pete. DJ needs to be activated right from the get-go. I mean, you are actively trying to get him looks. I know he gets a lot of his offense in transition and aggressively getting to the basket where he has opportunities when he especially when on the move. I think, as he demonstrated, running a handful of sets for him may be ideal. I'm with you, Eric. What's the point of waiting? Because I agree, and to go back to what you said, the Kobe thing, yeah, like, look, Kobe's scoring out. Like, Kobe's our leading scorer, we think, for the season, right, per game. He's just under 15.
He's been great.
But going game to game. 12, 14, 21, 8, 28 against Green Bay, then down to 9 against UCLA, 18 at Creighton, 7 tonight. Like, and they're asking to play the whole damn game and guard the opposing team's best guard. So you're going to kind of get this from Kobe all year. He's going to probably be around that 15 mark. Right. So the answer to that, Pete, I think it's DJ. You're going to get those points in the backcourt from DJ Carton on a more consistent basis. Do it at the top of the game.
Let me postulate something here, Brian.
Postulate away.
And This is me, me and my Midwest ways, really giving it to Wojo hard on this. I really would like to see.
You're a staunch East Coaster now, though. I don't know if you can claim, but you've been on the East Coast for a long time now.
I
think this is you. And your...
We need to recognize also the 12 live watchers. Oh boy. So
Artie Sheboygan, got to give credit to Artie Sheboygan. I feel like he's been in the chat every pod this year.
I agree. Like, he's the MVP to date for sure.
He is the MVP.
Anybody watching after that?
Do we know who Artie Sheboygan is? Like, that is awesome.
I don't know. Let me get back to
my mistake.
That's fine.
You're about to deliver a hot take.
Right on.
I was ready to postulate. And I don't think this is really a hot take, but I think that this is something that I really want to see more from, and maybe these things might be related, but I'd really like to see more 3-point attempts from Dawson Garcia and Justin Lewis. Each of those guys only attempted 2 3-point shots in this game. Dawson was 0 for 2 from 3, and Justin Lewis was 1 for 2. Both guys have maybe the best 3-point strokes on the team. I'm a huge fan of Justin Lewis's shooting form. I think he's got a great shot, and he's shooting 50% on the year, but only on 10 attempts. And there's nothing to me that I see in Justin Lewis's shot that seems like it's a fluke. The guy needs more volume shooting threes. And Dawson Garcia, too. We saw it in the first few games. The guy has an ability to shoot from multiple foot positions. He's just that good of a shooter. So if we're getting Dawson Garcia more spot-up attempts, whatever it is, I think that's an element of the offense that I'd like to see more volume head towards. And then because of that, if those guys truly are threatening from the perimeter, that pulls big men out of the paint, which, voila, opens up lanes for guys like Kobe and DJ Carton.
Literally what you need.
And I don't want to say that we lost this game because of that, but it's just when I'm thinking of how this offense develops and what is actually the long-term potential, that's where that's the key to opening this offense up. It's not like the lucky Greg goes 4 for 4 3-point shooting against Creighton. The sustainable upside of this offense is by unlocking the perimeter game of these talented young freshmen and pulling big men out to the perimeter, opening lanes for the speed of DJ Carton and the strength of Kobe McEwen to take advantage of the hoop. And that's what I want to see moving forward. Hopefully we get a little more of that. What do you think?
You lay out an incredibly well thought out and laid out case. Yeah, I don't argue with that, Pete. I think you make a very strong issue for that. Having Dawson shoot more, having Justin shoot more is not wrong. And look, if you're only going to play 7 guys, it's not like they're not getting the minutes, right? I mean, they're out there, the opportunities, but also that part of that falls on them, right? Because we've certainly been critical of Dawson at times for not being assertive enough. They can't make people shoot, right? You got to be aggressive in hunting it and getting yourself in position to do that. That's not look. You said it. I mean, look, the biggest picture, that offense wasn't very good. You got beat at home against a team that was pretty beatable. This is one of those 50-50 swing games, and there'll be a bunch of them. We'll win a few of these this year where you steal one against somebody. We obviously did against Creighton. I'm just tired of losing to this freaking team. I'm so tired of Kevin Willard. I'm so tired that Kevin Willard owns Wojo right now.
Bubbles, tell me about it, man. I am fucking. I'm done with it.
Yeah,
I'm fucking done with it.
You know what?
I moved to Illinois 4.5 years ago now. I think I've had a duplex down in Wicker Park. I now have a house in the suburbs. I fucking had a condo there. I had a townhouse in South Orange. and we fucking never beat them. I'm so mad. I am so upset.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about
this team. Never
this team.
seem to beat this team. They are grittier and grindier than us, and that's all I can fucking come away with.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I think what makes it worse.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and look, and I love the different aspects of Marquette fandom. We obviously all came into the school right at the beginning of the Big East area, and we used to fist pound Seton Hall every single year from the day we walked into the league for a good decade, or at least 8 or 9 years, where you didn't lose to Seton Hall very often. And I get it; coaches change, things are different. They've been better than us for.
They were
for
more
stretches.
on a Seton or on a
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
DePaul
but
was go ahead.
Yeah, but it's still not mentally like I hate losing to them. And now, especially with the guys that they've had, we've obviously had some great games, and the Big East tournament game, I think from 3 years ago, which was the fucking ejections. I mean, it was just awesome. But we haven't beaten them since January of 19. Like, shit, you got to beat this team.
I mean, we obviously are underselling the fact that they have gotten better. Like they are a nationally relevant.
I almost fell over when they said Willard has been there for 11 years. I'm like, he has been there that long.
The job he's done is absolutely incredible. Yeah. If you look around, if you've been on that campus, it's just it's literally it's a postage stamp in the middle of a ghetto. That is it. Some people would say Marquette is that. It is not similar. It is very different.
Well, and so in that area, right, which has been hard. Look, the New York City area teams, St. John's would take.
No, they're like
the last 5 years of Seton Hall in a heartbeat.
They're a Vailsburg, Newark area team. They're not okay, they can recruit.
That's true. You're right. Well, I roll Newark into it because you can fly there, but that's fair. Newark is not New York City. You're right.
They're just. It's a hard shit on Seton Hall at all right now.
I agree.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
I will say that if any Marquette fan, other than those of us who have lived on the East Coast, most of the Wisconsin fans. I'm gonna give you a tip right now. Next time you're in New Jersey or New York, if someone asks you, you're at the bagel counter getting a sandwich, and the guy asks you SPK ? Brian, do you know what that means?
I have no idea what that means.
It means salt, pepper, ketchup. Do you want salt, pepper, and ketchup on your breakfast sandwich? So,
well, that depends if there's Taylor ham on that or not.
The question is still the same. It's a suffix to any breakfast sandwich order in the tri-state area.
It sure is.
Even up here in Massachusetts. So this is just a piece of advice for those of you Midwesterners who didn't know that. If you are ordering a breakfast sandwich, which I do recommend, the bagel sandwiches of New Jersey are exceptional. Do that. But don't
we just
look
get
like
the
an
junk
idiot.
drawer without calling it out?
We slid into the junk drawer here, I believe.
Give me the first entry of the junk drawer. Keep going, Mike. Mohan.
This is my Rick Steves-esque travel guide recommendation for those of you traveling to New Jersey ever in the future when perhaps travel resumes. Don't get caught with your pants down at the bagel counter. Look like a pro. Know what SPK means.
That's big league. I love that. I
was going to say one more thing about what I before I forget. You guys were talking about being frustrated with the Seton Hall matchup, and this week on Twitter, it might have been Bykowski or someone else on MUBB Twitter said that Creighton must feel about us, Marquette, the way that we feel about Seton Hall right now. Just a thorn in the side. Oh, it was in response to Homer. This was the best part. Homer was in this thread somehow, and he said, "I have no idea what that means." Basically, admitting that this went totally over his head, and he has no idea.
Well, we can all agree that Homer's a moron. I don't think that any of us are shy about saying that, right?
He's a homer. I'm not going to say anything overt, but you can read between the lines.
No, Homer.
He's our guy. He's a very nice man. I don't think anybody confuses him as some kind of elite play-by-play guy.
Homer.
But
we love Homer. Homer ain't doing analysis, though.
We can look at this from all kinds of angles. What I mentioned before was, hey, we had lost 2 of the last 3. That's a pretty pessimistic way to look at it. We could be 5-5 heading into Christmas. Wouldn't that be a great treat? That's not necessarily the reality. This team, like we said, they ebb and flow, and you can frame it however many games at a time you want to. Wouldn't you take one in the Big East, looking at those 2 games? I mean, wouldn't you take the win against the road top 10 team if you had to pick one of the 2?
Of course.
But this is kind of like – go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
No. But Bubbles, I was just going to say, of course. You would absolutely take that. Absolutely.
But this is what we've been, right? Get drilled by Oklahoma State, beat Wisconsin, right? Lay an egg kind of at UCLA, and then turn around and beat Creighton. And now you go lose to Seton Hall. Like, I get it. Like, we're young, we're up and down, we don't make sense all the time, but my God, this is going to be exhausting for an entire season. Like, some level of, consistency.
Here's the thing, though. The defense obviously has to be legit because, look, we're playing big league, D1. These are all big-time games, good teams that we've played in this stretch outside of UW Green Bay. And if your offense just takes a nap for 3/4 of the game, you're going to lose by 7. And a lot of the times, if your offense takes a nap for that long and you have all these turnovers, a lot of times you're losing by 15 to 20 points. And we haven't
get your ass blown out of gym.
We have not seen that yet from this Marquette team because the defense has been good enough to keep them hanging around. And some people were talking about, hey, the defense didn't really show up against Creighton. You do what you can. You put a hand in their face and hope they miss. That's just how you play against Creighton. That's not to me, it was reaffirmed tonight. I think that the team played fairly good defense against Seton Hall. And the reason that we were basically still in this thing down the stretch, save for some crazy shots by DJ Carton.
You hold someone to 70 or under, you have a pretty good chance to win.
Yeah.
You do.
Yep. The most upsetting part is that it was Seton Hall. Like, to me, like it's the classic villain, and it's the classic like antidote to what Marquette is and the Golden Eagles are. Like it's just it's very frustrating. That's all I have to say.
Jay in the comments says, I have never met anyone in my life who ever went to Seton Hall, and I think I can. I think I can second that. I don't think I know anyone.
Dude, you know me. Who knows my
father-in-law I don't get to count.
My mother-in-law.
I've never met them. I don't count that.
Many probably don't know this. I think she came in the year after we graduated. Pete, our senior year at Marquette in 09, I believe she bounces around MUBB Twitter. I don't know if she listens to the show or not, but Teslin, if that name rings a bell, I believe her dad was a director at Seton Hall, and she went to Marquette. Tess Quinn, you know that name?
Sounds familiar, but
nevertheless,
I don't know who she is.
The daughter of a former Seton Hall athletic director went to Marquette and is a proud Marquette grad. Well, had a parent obviously in the administration. I always thought that was a unique little connection when they were gone. I don't believe he's the AD anymore, but just thought that was interesting.
So while we're revealing Seton Hall secrets, there was apparently like a $1 million Seton Hall donor who lives down the street from us, like 6 houses down here. They just sold the house for $2 million. It was crazy. We are not wealthy, but we live amongst the wealthy, which is nice. Hey, that ain't bad. They sold this big old brick house for $2 million. It was a big old Seton. It was a Seton Hall trustee, actually. And we know that because my father-in-law.
You find parrots everywhere you go.
My father-in-law is he did very well. He was very well in business. He worked for Rubbermaid and many other whatever.
Oh, a fine maid she was.
Yes, right. But yes, this road we live on is very, very much peppered with lots of nice people. So,
Oh, all
this
right.
one was a Seton Hall house. It just sold, so they got some good money coming in.
First of all, I'm gonna let's start to steer this thing into
definitely close this
terminal
down.
here.
Like, close this down.
Quick, before we get into the junk drawer, I just want to say quick predictions. Anyone for Xavier on the road at Xavier? When is this? When is this game? Xavier Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central at the Cintas Center.
Oh, bye.
What do you think?
I mean, I just hope they play it. I think that you guys have both alluded to that. Xavier hasn't been playing lately, so TBD, I guess, would be my assessment.
TBD, indeed. Let's fly this thing into the junk drawer. You got anything else, Brian? I have a couple.
I got
actually.
I got one junk drawer. I'm pretty. I think everybody's probably seen it. I bet you guys have. Everybody out there, I don't know if they probably got a mailer from Marquette or an email about the renovation they're trying to launch on the Joan of Arc Chapel.
Trying to launch.
Putting an escalator in there.
Hey,
just we want to get an escalator, maybe an underground elevator. It's an old ass. It's 500 something years old. Obviously, the original structure. So, anyways, if you throw, go ahead, Eric.
No, roll, Brian.
I'm just saying. You throw any donation at them, they send you a mug with the freaking chap on it. Throw them a couple bucks, get a goddamn mug. Why not?
A couple fucking bucks? What the fuck, man? Who?
What?
Let's do whoever fucking donates the most gets to be on the pod.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and judge I'm not going to judge people and what they can donate right now.
$1,000 right now.
Donate to your school. Whatever's good for you.
$500.
Take care of the Joan of Arc campus. That's all.
It's a donation.
I'm not here to judge what you can donate and what can't.
We're directing everything to Marquette, so let's go.
This was a thing. Pond has come over and taken a dump on it. I don't know.
Full disclosure for all the listeners: Eric Pond's career is
failure on the job. I don't bring much more to
education.
That was discouraging. What do you got, Mo?
All right. First of all, I want to direct a comment.
Let's land this plane. I don't think
I have nothing, guys.
I have some good shit here. First of all, I want to address our pod mate who was in the chat, our friend neighbor Pete Worth, who says Molson is as garbage a player as it is a beer.
Nope, no way.
Wait, but which way do you want to go? Are you saying that relative to the player?
He's a garbage player. It's a great beer.
See, I am pro-Canadian beers in general. My ancestors hail from Canada on my paternal side. I got the Blues tonight.
Oh, you do have the Labatt's. Nice.
So I tried to go against Molson, but I ended up I'm drinking Seton Hall colors.
I like the Labatt's. You are drinking Seton Hall colors.
I'm drinking Seton Hall colors. But regardless, the Blues always go down smooth if you ask me. So shout out to neighbor Pete. Thanks for tuning in along with the rest of the crew. Secondarily, for the junk drawer, I myself have combed through, I think it's either in MU Scoop or in the Marquette Wiki somewhere online, folks who have attempted the real chili recipe. And folks have attempted dashes of different ingredients, what have you. I myself have taken an amalgamation of the various recipes, and it's sort of one of those things where you read everyone's comments and replies to folks' various, I do this with the beef, or I use this seasoning, or I add chocolate, what have you. People have opinions on what the secret ingredients are that go into real chili. So you kind of got to triangulate from there. And I did kind of deduce my own recipe. And so I will be making a batch this weekend. Hopefully it's enough to push us over the top against Xavier. But to call back our pal neighbor Pete, the reason this came up is he texted me because he had heard I had this recipe for real chili, and he plans to make a batch himself this weekend.
So what is the recipe?
I don't have it in front of me. Actually, wait, I think I might have taken a picture of it. I might have it in front of me.
You should post it to the.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Here's the trick. Here's some of the tricks.
We've got a lot of people who have hung with us through this.
For the people who have hung with us, let me tell you just
God
a few
bless
of
you at this point.
There are 11 of them now.
This is the real good tips shit right here. I already told people about salt, pepper, ketchup. That's a life-changing nugget of info right there. Okay, real chili recipe. Here's the trick: is you don't brown the meat. You put the ground beef, in the water raw.
Raw, yes.
And you simmer it.
Flavors.
You simmer it slowly until the beef disintegrates. That's how you know it's done, is when the beef has simmered so long that it's like fully disintegrated, that it's that, that silky beef texture of real chili. That's how you know you've cooked it long enough. And some of the other, so what I've done is I've created actually two parallel recipes. One is if you just got the scraps off the shelf and you want to throw together a quick batch of real chili, and another bougie version, which samples with some more exotic flavors in creating the overall richness of the real chili recipe, augmenting it, if you will. For example, it calls for 3 tablespoons of vinegar. I like to use 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vineger, and 1 of apple cider vinegar. You got to have a nice blend. Then some other things you might want to consider: 2-3 chipotle peppers from the can in adobo sauce.
I'm already in on your.
Some other interesting elements that I've added in the past is a tablespoon of Korean chili paste and a couple squares of Lindt chili chocolate. That the chili chocolate adds a nice deep warmth to it. It's not spicy, because that's not real chili. It isn't spicy. It's that warmth that warms you up. So anyways, maybe we will post a picture of that recipe for those of you who are listening, and maybe after hearing that, you're craving yourself a little bowl of real chili yourself. So that's some real junk drawer good right there, my friends. Anyone else got anything?
I can't believe what's happened over the last 3 minutes, but I'm
3 minutes? That might be 30 minutes.
I've watched a lot of Ina Garten, Barefoot Contessa, Brian, and
I'm ready for you to be on the Food Network next week. Unbelievable. Well, look, thank you to everybody for hanging with us late after a disappointing loss. But hey, we'll be here for the good. We're going to be here for the bad. As Pete said, hopefully we are doing this on Sunday afternoon after Marquette plays Xavier. Again, though, to be determined. Keep an eye on Twitter this week, because who knows if that will be happening. So for Eric Pond and Pete Mohan, I am Brian Henry. Thank you for watching the Real Chili Podcast with us. We'll talk to you later in the week. Go Marquette.
Enjoy that L, everyone. Bye-bye.
Go!